Good morning, Tony Dottino, still here in Larchmont, New York, doing my Live with Tonys on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I wanted to continue to go through what I thought was a really superb article coming from the current issue of Mind, Mood, and Memory that really addresses how your socialization with friends and family boosts memory and mental health. And it's from their August 2023 issue. And I just found that this is so powerful, and we're so still in the midst of people learning how to socialize and moving away from feeling lonely or isolated. And I continue to read that there's so many people that just feel lonely or feeling that there's no one that they can talk with, or they just feel like they're on a lost planet. That I just thought this article is almost something that we should somehow figure out how to spread across the whole country, since it's just so many people, no matter where you go, that are in that boat, especially as we get older, and sometimes we withdraw from, maybe we're not working, or maybe we've lost some of our friends. But at any point, I thought it addressed some really great questions that people often ask about it. So we talked about, what do we know about how socialization supports cognition and mood, which we did on Monday's Live with Tony. Are big gatherings more or less helpful, more helpful than intimate get-togethers or brief interactions? So we discussed that on Wednesday. And today I wanted to pick up a couple of other questions that this article answers, which is there an optimal number of personal interactions that people should have on a given week? And it's kind of an interesting question that you would ask someone, but you just got a chance to stop and talk to one or two people. Was it enjoyable? Did you ask them some things that sparked a lively conversation, and you learned some things and exchanged some knowledge, and that you found was just fun to have been a part of, and it left a memory or two? And therefore, when you're doing the socialization and the number of interactions you may have in a given week, are you enjoying them? We don't want this to be what I call ticky list items. Let me get a check mark and a check mark. Well, I went and did this. We want you to have fun at this and feel that you're learning something, that it has a purpose to it, that when you leave and you come back to home, you say, boy, I really enjoyed that. And so it's kind of like building on your enjoyment, building on, maybe you had some laughs, maybe you shared something that you wanted to share with somebody that you just got it off your system, and it's helped you feel less stressful. So the important thing is that there's no one size fits all. It really depends on what your value is and how you're finding this, and is it getting more enjoyable, and is it something that you find is easy? I talk to people who sometimes say they're shy or they're introvert, and I can't do this. And the question is, well, can you try one a week? And then maybe you want to go out and do this twice a week. Do we think the interactions are giving you a sense of purpose, and you're meeting people that help to just build the connection or relationship, and maybe a new way of thinking about things? And so these are just some of the elements that you want to be able to pull away from any of the dialogues. And so the number of people is really not important, or how many times you need to do this. And maybe you've got other activities that you engage in. Maybe there's a few people you talk with and you enjoy sharing with them, hey, let me tell you about this person that I just met. In general, the interactions are mutual and beneficial when they're not just one-sided, but they actually help build. And maybe you see somebody walking the dog several times a week, and you can pick up on the last conversation, and you can go back out and say, hey, I missed seeing you walk the dog yesterday. What happened? And you found the dog slept a little later, so I didn't get up this early, or my mid-afternoon was interrupted by some work I was doing, so I had to go out a little bit earlier. I went out with the dog later. So you build some kind of a fun, enjoyable process, which is important. Now, the next question, and I have said this is going to be like the 3-year field test. Do online interactions or video chats meet the definition of a healthy socialization? I answer that mostly by looking at teenagers and younger kids that couldn't go out, couldn't play with their friends, and Zooms or YouTubes or social connections on the internet, even phone calls. And what I found is we were trying to do something during a pandemic with lockdowns. And I said, boy, in the long term, we're going to find out if the Zooms and the social internet connections really serve the purpose. Or is it better to do face to face? And kids just wanted to go out and play. They wanted to go out and meet their friends. They wanted to be with them. They wanted to be in their space. And we're seeing the impacts of that as we fear and dread the suicides that teenagers have had, their feeling of loneliness and the learning, the challenges that they face by not being in school. And how many articles I've read recently that says we've lost 2 years of education in the process. And kids have gone backwards because of that interaction of not being able to be with their fellow students and play in school or meet with them or talk to them or walk from class to class, play in the playground. So there's more to it, obviously, but at least in the absence of, we were able to have some helpful benefits from it. They had some effects. I know Silver Sneakers for seniors was very active, and people did that, and the instructor was very engaging. Yet on the other side, there were some teachers that felt this was something that they were comfortable to do. So one of the elements to that to me was, what about the instructor? Were they excited? Were they as equally engaged? And I know that I did a number of social interactions on Zoom, and some of them worked out well, and some of them did not work out so well. I know there were times I had to do doctor appointments, and boy, do you want to do a doctor appointment on Zoom? Do you want them to look at you and be able to see you right there and touch you if you needed to be examined or poked and checked out? And so put some test on you, and so this one, has a balancing scale of, do you lose something from the social interaction versus at least is there some value and some purpose that you get away? It certainly is better than nothing, but are you comfortable with seeing yourself on a screen and then having interaction? Do you feel that interaction is mutual and there's a joint exchange? What about the value of spending time with people that are outside of your home versus those that you live with? Well, now you get into a whole issue of trust and feeling that you're understood and having some joy and laughter. So sometimes we want to do that from different relationships. There are some people we've met in our life that just make you feel a little bit more happy, and you just kind of bubble out and you laugh a little bit. So the question here is, oh God, do you want to go with people just that are outside your home? And I think the answer is yes. Folks that are care partners, they've discovered, find that having someone else to talk to, having interactions outside, can give them a reprieve and give them a little bit of a different level of dealing with stress and building some resiliency. So the notion of, is there value of spending time with people outside of those who live at your home with you, I think is without a yes. I mean, how many times during rainy days, snow days, I can recall growing up and being with family, and you say, okay, we'll all deal with the snow, but we couldn't wait to get out and shovel the snow, at least in my case, couldn't wait to get out, clear the path, and see people walking by, and seeing how the neighbors were doing. And so this notion of just staying locked in the house, which again is back to COVID as well, was not a lot of fun. It wasn't something that, all I wanted to do was stay home. So getting outside of the house and meeting with other people that you can have different conversations with, or just sharing their experiences of how their days are going, makes a big difference. So I think the importance is, are you enjoying whatever the relationships and connections are that you're having? And then are there different types of socialization that may be harmful and not really helpful? And I think we can all relate to this, which is, we call them negative Nellies. People who, every time you see them, all they want to do is tell you how the world is coming to an end and how it just is going to collapse. So that you want to have some balance. Now, I'm always careful with this one, because you don't want to ignore people who are trying to share something with you that's troubling them, and there's an urgency to it, or there's a concern that they may have, and therefore they're coming off as, you may perceive, gee, well, I'm having this great day, and I just heard about this, terrible thing that's going on, or a murder, or I saw the news, and did you hear about this, and this, what you believe they did that. So there is a balance of what I call reality in dealing with the facts of the day, and saying, okay, there's an exchange of information that at times can be very, very helpful, but you don't want to be in that mode every time. And so it's not like you got to live in Pollyanna or positivity all the time, but you want to make sure that there are some people that every time you talk to them, it's not like the world is falling down and the skies are falling, and therefore, what's the point of leaving the house? So there is a balance there with, and I find this one difficult, of sharing what I call factual information. We hear lots of that misinformation in the news, trying to sort out, what is factual and that which you need to grab onto and work and act on, versus that which is maybe an exaggeration, and maybe it's just going to be more depressing, and you leave and you feel, God, why did I do this, and how do I avoid that person the next time I do? I meet them or see them walking on the street with the dog. So that concludes my three-part series with mind, mood, and memory. Socializing with friends and family boosts memory and mental health. And here's the thing that goes in all of this. By maintaining socialization, learning new things, seeing that there's purpose in their world out there, all helps with your focus, all helps with remembering key information about people that help you with your memory and build those dendritic spines that we talk about, that are like the muscles in your brain that help you to maintain good mental health as well as good physical health that we have. So think of socialization as being a mental memory building exercise that serves to your benefit as well as to the people that you may be talking with. Well, it's another Friday, and we shall see you back here on Monday. Have a good weekend. Hopefully you're in a spot where you can get some nice warm weather and some swimming in, or some beach time if that's something, or walk in the park. And we'll see you back out here on Monday.